My brother, nothing but they know it. We come to work, and 12 o'clock, we take the two buckets, and we're gonna to pick up the food, whatever it's left over by the Germans, whatever they didn't eat, they give it to us, you know. And we prayed every day they should have a stomach, they shouldn't eat, you know. I mean, so if they didn't eat, so we have a little bit more. And when we come back with the food, they've been gone, you know. And then we start to eat, and then the Unterscharführer, he said, very Yankee mit elf, you know. And when after time he have to, the Unterscharführer have to take us back to that laundromat, you know. When we come back to the laundromat, it was, they changed the pants, you know. They got 2 per pants. The dirty one, what they work, they left it in the laundromat, and the Unterscharführer said, oh my gosh, he is responsible, you know. But he was like, you know, like a nothing, you know. You could do with him anything you want to, you know. They stopped right away the work, and they took us all together in one place, and they called the police from the jails, the criminal police, you know, the SS, and they come down, and they start to question what's happened, you know. And they thought that these 2 women, the Polish 2 women, they opened the door for these guys to run away, because we was not allowed to say a word to them in which we didn't say, you know. They said all kind of things, you know. We understood what they saying. They talked about Jews, they talked about what we did and how we lived, you know. And we didn't say anything. And the criminal police, we all been in the one room, and they beat them up. They cut up the 2 women, you know. And they didn't know a thing. They said that we didn't know it, you know. And they embarrassed them. They have to undress in the front of everybody, you know. And they've been dead, almost dead. And then the main man, they call him the Alte, the old man, you know. And he talked very good Jewish. And he called me first, and he said to me that you bring the food. You are no more familiar with that area than anybody else. Did you know about this? He said to me. And tell me the truth. If you're going to tell me the truth, you're going to be safe. Otherwise, they're going to kill you. In Jewish. First he asked me what my father did, what I did, how we make a living and all that stuff, and make a nice conversation with me. I said, look, I'm going to tell you the truth. He said, if I would know they ran away, I would do 2 things. Or I would run with them, or I would come in and tell you that they are running away. I know what you're going to do to me and to the other ones, you know. None of us know what they're doing, you know. And this, and he looked at me like he believed me, you know. And then the 2 Gestapo men from they got all kind of needles to stick it into you and all this. And he said to them to hold on, you know. He called the other guy, what he worked with me. He said, did you know? He said, I didn't know anything. He started to mumble. He got a few punches, you know, and they did this. And he said that none of us know whatever it is. And they took us back to Schkoine, you know, and that job was finished, you know. We didn't go anymore to the book. And a few days later, they brought the 2 guys dead, not alive.
Eller and Janke?
Eller and Yankel, they brought them back, and they took us out on a pill and they said, here, you want to run? You're going to wind up just like they did, you know, because they know everybody would like to run away if he can, you know. And we hear that the Polish guy, because the Yankee didn't know where the father, if the father put away gold, but the father not going to tell a young kid where he put away the gold, whatever it is, and he couldn't give it him the gold, and that Poland didn't know nothing about partisan either, you know. And they didn't know what to do with them. They killed him and they throw him up on the street and they brought him back. And this was the story.
Can you explain to us the difference between the Radom ghetto and Szkolna? How were they separate?
Well, in Radom was big ammunition factories, the biggest in Poland, you know. So over there was the ammunition factories. And the Szkolny Street, you know, was very close to the ammunition factories. And a lot of Jewish people worked. They took all the people working in the ammunition factory. And over there they have barracks. A matter of fact, my brother, the oldest, he started the Szkolna to build the barracks, you know. And we all, whatever, you know, we stay in the barracks and we walk from the barracks to the ammunition factory. We all work in the ammunition factory, 24 hours a day and night, you know. And this was the Szkolna.
And that was separate from the ghetto? This
was separate from the ghetto, but when they liquidated the ghetto, they took all the people from the ghetto to the Szkolna. In 1944, it was sometimes in July, we didn't know a thing what's going on, but we saw something, you know, the Germans, they've been running, you know, every day comes more and more Germans from the different units, you know, and it was, I guess, by the 18th of July, none of us went out to work anymore. They opened up the gate. One part was for the women and one part for the men. And they opened up the gate, they make an appeal, and they told us that we're going to go out to a different place to work, you know. So we figured this is it. Now they're going to finish us up. But the chief of the police, you know, the Obersturmbannführer, promised that we're going to walk to a different part of work, you know. And it was like maybe about 12 or 1 o'clock, put us on in, you know, in 5 to a line, and we walked through the whole town, you know, and we walked maybe a week or maybe more, you know, till we come to Tomaszów. In Tomaszów, they separate the women. They took the women away and the men in different, and they put us in I guess the women they took to a jail. The men they put in an empty factory, broken up factory, you know. We stayed there a few days, and then they took us to Auschwitz.
Did they take everyone from the ghetto to Tomaszów?
Yeah, it was not anymore the ghetto. The ghetto was liquidated already. It was the Szkolna. We all went
from the Szkolna.
Mm-hmm. On the way, they killed an awful lot of people. They said, the SS, they said, if somebody feels weak, he should stop, not walking, and they're going to be picked up, and they're going to travel by horse and buggy. But the minute they stopped, they killed them right there, you know. There was a lot of people dead. So in Tomaszów, we stayed a few days. They picked us up, they took us to Auschwitz.
How'd you get to Auschwitz?
By train, from Tomaszów by train. When we come to Auschwitz, we never know that Auschwitz is existing, that a crematorium is existing.
Did you know anything about death camps?
No, we never know about Auschwitz, you know. When we come to Auschwitz, and we stood up in the line, I am more sure that time Eichmann was there. He was a tall guy, but we couldn't look. You know, we're not supposed. The minute we pick up the head, you were dead. You know, but there was, you know, but we saw from when they say on the sun, and it shows, you know, the when you say on the sun, and then you see the
shadow.
The shadow, you know. So we saw the tall men, you know. And they, these two Gestapo men, the two assessmen come, and he looked at us, and he say, "Abmarschieren," to go. And we start to walk, you know. And we walked, and then we come to the orchestra, but the orchestra was playing. We didn't know what the orchestra playing, you know. A bunch of women standing, but they played very loud. And we walked far from the orchestra, and they told us to stop, and we stood up that ausziehen, that we should get undressed. We got undressed. And we saw over there the place where you go into the Badezimmer, you know.
Into the what?
To the body, to
the shower
to
rooms?
the shower, yeah. You know, but it was like a brick, you know, like half of it, you know, brick, and then farther down was the Badezimmer. And it was beautiful, you know, roses and garden, everything was nice, you know. And we stood, and the sun was so hot, you know.
When was this? This was still
This
July
was in July.
44?
This was still in July, you know, by the end of July, you know. When we stood there, and everybody undressed, and maybe I would say close to 2 hours, and a lot of people, they couldn't stand anymore, they fall down, and, you know, like dead. I mean, they've been dead, and we stood. And we hear a little guy running with a piece of paper in the hand, and he runs, and he comes in close to them, he gives them the paper. We understood everything what they say. And he said, "Ich möchte haben 500 kräftige Juden."
Which means?
It means that he needs 500 strong Jews to work. And he got a paper from Berlin that he can come into Auschwitz to get his workers. And he said to him, "Kannst du die ausloben für diese Scheiße?"
Which means?
That means if he can pick it up from that garbage, you know. And he said, "Lassen Sie mich gucken." He wanna
Let me
permit
take a look.
to take a look, you know. He give him that that thing, that peich,
That stick?
that stick with this, and he said that he gonna go look us over. So everybody said one to the other one, "Blow up your chicks. We've been skinning more," you know. And he runs, and he goes back to these two Germans. He say, "Ein bisschen Beflegung, die kommen zurück zum Leben." That means a little bit food, we come back to life. He said, "Pick him up." And then he said, at whom he going to point that stake, they should walk out 2 feet, you know. And I was lucky, my brother too, we've been between the 500, and they took us right away back to a wagon. They give us the striped suit, you know. The tall one got a shorts thing, but we exchanged later on. And they see, the reason I don't have a number, if you stay overnight in Auschwitz, you get a number, you know. My wife stayed overnight, she had a number. But my number was there, 1462. And they took us right away to a train. They give us a piece of bread and a piece of marmalade, and we took us in a train. And probably 3 or 4 days we wind up to be in Germany in a camp Weihingen. This was not too far from Stuttgart. In Weihingen, they took us to a factory, Kohlmetalle.
Can you spell that for us?
I would
Okay.
spell. Over there, also stones, you know. I mean, you have to go under the ground and break up stones and pick it up, and we worked over there till they bombed the factory.
When was that?
This was in '44. And then they need to work at an airport, so they took us. They maybe about 1,000 or maybe more, and we walked maybe 3 or 4 days from Weihingen to Schwäbisch Hall. Wasn't the same, over there was an airport. And we worked at that airport, oh, what can I tell you, quite few months, you know, and the Americans and the English, the place they come to bomb, it was an airport under the ground. And every day they shut down 4, 5, 6 American airplanes, you know. And when the soldiers jumped out with the parachute, they just killed them there. And when they bombed finally the airport, we walked to Dachau.
How was this airport underground? Can you explain that?
Well, it was, on the top was a forest, and this was under the ground. This was for small place, for they fly very fast and they shoot to the other place, you know. If you see sometimes in the movie the planes have a fight, you know, the small, this was the place, you know. And from there they took us to Dachau, and in Dachau we got liberated.
They took you by train to Dachau?
No, we walked.
Or you walked, you said?
We walked maybe 2 weeks. More than 60% got killed, you know. And we come into Dachau, oh my gosh, it was so terrible. You see dead bodies maybe higher than this house, you know. Hundreds and hundreds of bodies, dead bodies, you know. And we got liberated in Dachau. This was not too far from Munich.
Can I ask you to backtrack a little and tell us about the march to Dachau? You said it took 14 days, about?
Or maybe more, or maybe I'm not, I don't remember this. We've been walking, and a lot of times the airplanes come, they spot us walking, and they come down and they shooting. See, he wears a shirt like we had the striped suits, you know. But when they come low, they saw the striped suits, they just keep going, you know. It was terrible. I mean, to them, it was, the most was but the Ukrainian soldiers, you know. To them, to kill a person is nothing, like nothing.
And Moishe was with you on this?
Moishe was with me all the time. It was, they feed us very little. So when we come into the airport, you know, to work, so the pilots, they have little houses, in a dumpster was in the front, and they have, every pilot have a girl, like from France or from Poland. They clean the house and they cook for them, you know. So many times I run away and I jump in the dumpster. And I picked up some, whatever it was, you know, and when the girls, they come out, they throw in stuff in the dumpster. When they saw us, they, not a lot of did this. So they brought out some bread, whatever they had, and they give it to us.
What exactly was your job at the airport?
Shoveling snow the most of the time, and all kind of things, whatever they need. Sometimes the plane is stuck, we have to push the plane, you know. Oh, this was the best job.
Why do you say that?
Because he couldn't fly, he couldn't kill nobody.
How long were you at Dachau before it was liberated?
It was maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
And what did you do there?
Nothing, we didn't do anything, you know.
You just
We
sat in the barracks?
The barrack, we couldn't sit in the barrack, was so this, the dirt and the lice was terrible, you know. And they tried to catch us to work, but we hide between the dead bodies, you know.
You would throw yourselves onto a pile, or?
No, there was piles of dead bodies. We sneaked in, we lay down, and they thought we are dead too. We looked like that. We didn't look like people. And then I got liberated, and then I find out about my mother.
Tell us about liberation. You were so excited that it happened early in the morning?
Well, they didn't make any appeal. You know, like this, we have every day an appeal, you know, and they count, and we saw already something is not kosher, you know, that no appeal, and the Germans, they running back and forth. And then we hear shooting, you know, and all of a sudden the whole American army, tanks, planes, you just can't see this in the movies, you know. And then right away, an American Jewish man, like a rabbi, he come out in the loudspeaker and said we shouldn't go no place, we should stay where we are because the war is on, and we might gonna get killed because you don't know who is a German and who is a Jew. We all speak German, and we should stay where we are, not go no place, and they're gonna bring us food. So they brought all kind of boxes with food, but I guess my brother was smart. He didn't let me eat all this stuff because, say, we are sick people. You're going to eat this stuff, you're going to get the diarrhea right away. But the people that control themselves, if we find a piece of bread, we eat a piece of bread, you know. And a lot of them died because of this food. This was too heavy food to eat. And then they brought us soup, you know, and we ate the soup we ate. And they took us right away to hospitals, you know. And they took us to Feldafik.
You said that you also saw General Eisenhower at
But this was
Dachau?
later.
Okay.
This was later, you know. This was later already when my mother was with me. This was by the high holidays.
And when exactly were you liberated?
I was liberated, I know exactly, the 29th of April, but between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. Oh, I don't forget this. I have quite few people in Cleveland when we liberated. We have a pretty nice party.
Every April 29th?
Every year. You know, this is for us like a holiday.
And how do you celebrate it?
Well, with whiskey and all kind of speeches. You know, They all come to my store.
And you have the celebration at your store?
Oh, yes, a few bottles of whiskey, and anybody comes in, and the neighbors from the street, they come in, and we have a few drinks, and oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so tell us about, you left Dachau and you went to a hospital?
They took us, they took us to Feldafing. We have to give up the striped suit, and they put us in pajamas, you know, and right away to the doctors, and a lot of the doctors come, you know, and they checked us out. And most of the time I was in the hospital.
About how long were you in the hospital?
I had a couple operations. I have a rupture. So I was in and out. I was operated twice in Feldafing, you know. And then I find out about my mother.
Okay, but I want to hear about your mother on the next tape.
Oh.
Let's stop here
Okay.
and let's go ahead and begin the next tape and we can talk about your mother. This is tape 6 with Morry Malcmacher, July 22nd, 1996. Okay, so tell us about your mother, please.
I was in hospital. And that time, when they looking for families, everybody come to the hospital and read by the doors the names. And one young girl comes in, and we've been 8 in a room, you know, 4 beds over there and 4 beds over there. And she comes in and she looks everywhere. Finally, she comes in, she said to me, Motu, I said to her, what do you, from where are you coming? What are you doing over here? Her name was Rivka. She said, 2 weeks ago I was by your mother. I said, what? By my mother? She said, your mother is in Prague, and she works in a restaurant with your sister Rushka and another bunch of girls together. They're washing dishes and they're cleaning the floors. And she don't know nothing about you, you know. And she gave me the address, you know, in Prague. I didn't know what to do. I said, my gosh, what do I do? The doctor comes in, I said, Doc, I have to go to my mother. He said, you are not in a position to go nowhere, you have to be there. I said, nothing gonna stop me, you know. My brother comes every day to visit me in the hospital from the camp, you know. And I told him, I said, look, Moshe, you're gonna stay over here. I'm gonna find, I have a pajama, that's all I got, you know. And I said, I'm gonna find me some clothes, whatever I can find, and I'm gonna go to Prague. I have no idea where to go, what to do, you know. And it was an old nurse, a German woman. I said, look, you probably a mother, a grandmother. I say, you take all my stuff, what I got, bring me a shirt, a pair of pants, and a pair of shoes, and maybe a jacket. She looked at me, she said, did the doctor permit you? I said, I'm not going to ask him if he permits you or not.